I was fired from my $500,000 a year job as a software engineer working at StubHub, and this is my story.
Guess why they fired this man? They fired this man because he was overly working. What a rookie move.
Thank you very much for watching. Today I'll be reacting to the craziest story I found on the internet. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments.
I was fired from my $500,000 a year job as a software engineer working at StubHub, and this is my story. I was fired for questioning the culture and the work at the company. I found it difficult to work in StubHub's environment when I would ask for data about why the decisions were being made. I wasn't provided with documentation about why certain decisions were being made. And then I was told, well, do I need to know everything? I can't know everything that's going on at the company.
Okay, so my first impression from how much he makes alone would be that he's somebody that is probably in a leadership position or a higher up executive, right? So I will assume that the information he's asking for is a need to know information, right? That's just my assumption.
The director also said I could switch teams, which is how I ended up meeting with a data team that manages the data coming into StubHub. When I met with an engineer on the team, we started discussing some of the data, and in particular, I had a question because there was something being brought up about mismatches between events. Essentially, my question was, is it possible for someone to sell a ticket, but the event is not actually happening there? And the engineer said that they didn't know. I also met with the manager of the data team, and I had several questions around how they were handling ticket data, whether or not they were using machine learning models to try to help identify scammers or fake tickets, instead of relying on agents, which could provide an inconsistent customer experience. In addition to this, I asked more consumer protection questions and related to what about the event of a large fake ticket selling scheme.
This story seems very sketchy to me because he's not asking for any sensitive information about the company or customers. So I don't see anything that he has said so far that will lead me to believe that he deserves to be fired.
Did not answer my question. And he was like, why are you asking these questions? I also asked questions related to the responsibility if a seller tries to sell a ticket that they don't have. And in response, the manager said, well, it's basically the seller's responsibility and it's not necessarily the company's responsibility. I wasn't the only one that had concerns over consumer protections. I attended an all-hands meeting where employees were concerned about Reddit comments and the negative company perception. I noticed a lot of Reddit comments where people were complaining about being scammed. I noticed a lot of comments where people would, try to get a ticket for an event, have booked like flights and hotels, and ended up not actually getting the ticket transferred to them in time. Or StubHub tries to mediate the situation and gives them an alternate ticket, but that ticket is nowhere comparable to the ticket that the consumer actually wanted. A few days later, after I had asked questions about these consumer protection related things, I was fired from the company, again with the reason being that I had been questioning the culture and work at the company and that I had wanted to switch teams. Me wanting to switch teams was encouraged by my manager and the director about finding a good team fit for me.
I won't be too surprised if this ends up as a lawsuit against that company. I don't feel like this firing was justified though. He was literally asking questions about real life situations that customers are going through. So I don't see why they decided to fire him unless they have something to hide. I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything. I've never used their services before, so I don't know what the experience is. But one of the things I found interesting was some of the comments, which I'm going to read right now. I saw a lot of people in the comments saying that they will never question anything if they're getting paid $500,000. That's obviously such a large amount of money to earn for the average person. But if we want a better society, we cannot criticize somebody that is doing the right thing, right? And I feel like he did the right thing, honestly. In my opinion, his complaint was not about anything that was sensitive, and it's also based on what he saw people complaining about online, which I will assume that if you work for a company, the satisfaction of your customers should also be your concern, right? And he was just trying to address those. He didn't come across as rude. In my opinion, he was just asking questions to know what exactly is going on. And the fact that they decided to fire him rather than create some clarity as to what's going on, it just makes me feel like that company is being shady. And it also makes sense that a lot of customers are having problem with the company. I've never used this service before, so I don't have a personal experience. I'm just making all my assumptions from the videos he made. Also, another video I saw that I found very interesting was this video right here.
I was fired from my $500,000 a year job as a software engineer working at StubHub, and this is my story.
Guess why they fired this man? They fired this man because he was overly working. What a rookie move. Asking questions they don't want him asking, investigating shit they don't want him investigating. They told this nigga, why are you asking so many questions? He just kept asking more questions, going around to co-workers and trying to build a brigade. Man, I would have been fired you.
Okay, I kind of see what he means, right? Some people actually do too much, but I really think that if we want a better society, everybody has the responsibility to do the right thing. If everybody turns a blind eye, we're going to end up in a society where there's no accountability. You know, companies can get away with doing things that are wrong just because they pay somebody well enough. That's just my argument. It's just my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine too.
For 500K, if I tell you don't do shit, don't do shit. If I tell you stop asking questions, stop asking questions. Why are you overly working? You're just a number, you're just a check, and they're giving you $500,000. Why don't you just engineer the software? He's talking about consumer protection. Do you work for the Consumer Bureau of Consumerism? Like, I understand, like, as a consumer, thank you for sacrificing $500,000 a year on my behalf. I don't even like StubHub. I don't even be on StubHub. But thank you for sacrificing your salary so that maybe if I get an NFL ticket, I might not get, well, they're still doing whatever they're doing. You just lost your job. I never understand why people overly work when their job tells them, hey, calm down. Why are you doing that? Why are you working so hard that you're getting in your own way? This is not your family's business. You probably just saved them money. They probably just got another compliant software engineer that they only got to pay like $450,000 now. You just saved them $50,000. They're going to keep scamming. Or did you think you were in like some type of spy thriller? You were supposed to uncover what? Were you supposed to build StubHub from the ground up? Engineer the software. Now just become a content creator, bro. Try to just do that, because you don't want to engineer the software. You want to ask questions. You want to restructure the corporation. They're not having that, bro. Get a grip.
I agree that he was overworking, but we need people that have integrity, that money can't just buy. To be honest, a lot of people would not even ask questions if you pay them that much. The fact that he asked questions and he also came online and shared his story, in my opinion, that's the right thing to do. I know a lot of people in the comment didn't agree with him, but in my opinion, he's somebody that has integrity, and I appreciate that. If I'm buying a product from a company, I would like to know that it's a company with integrity. And what is a company with integrity without employees with integrity? You know, it's almost impossible. Another person says he could have just made an anonymous profile on Reddit like everyone else. That's another option. He probably didn't have to do his job to be a whistleblower, but that's what he decided to do. Some of the comments were just so funny. You guys were roasting him. This person says he's the guy that reminds the teachers they gave homework. I used to hate people like that when I was in school. Because why can't I just be... I'm gonna show you his response to this guy's video.
What a rookie move. Asking questions they don't want him asking.
Just sitting there and doing your job is exactly why we're in the state that we are in this country, right? Because you guys have sacrificed your morals, your integrity, and your principles for a bag and willing to come on here and make videos about it, rather than actually figuring out how do we band together and make this nation materially better? How do we get to a point of affordable healthcare? How do we get to a point of affordable groceries, affordable rent? How do we get gun control? The issues that actually matter in this country, rather than having this divisive rhetoric that tears us apart. How do we come together as a community? That's what you should be introducing your audience to. And I find it super ironic that on this eve of a TikTok ban that 170 million of us did not want, where we have the illusion of freedom, but we don't have any choices, that this is what you choose to post. And just to be clear, when I accepted that offer, I also had 3 other job offers that I was considering. So I didn't just need to put the fries in the bag. It's scary that 100,000 people liked the video that you made, one, and two, you didn't even bother to tag me in your post, so I had no idea really that this was going on. Maybe you were scared of my response, but here it is.
Okay, that's not a scary response, so I don't understand what he means by you're scared of my response. I agree with him though. The reason why we feel like the world is so corrupt is because you can buy people, you know, you give them enough money, they're gonna look the other way. And if we don't want to live in a world like that, we need integrity, right? And we cannot criticize people that choose to have integrity. If you decide to not be somebody that has integrity, don't criticize somebody that has integrity. Alright, so some of the comments on this other video. This person says, asking questions is literally part of the job. You did the right thing. Don't mind this guy. Exactly, I think he did the right thing. Also, he's not pulling questions out of thin air. This is based on what he has seen online, and he's just asking clarifying questions. He's not asking you to tell them. He's not asking for company secrets. He's not asking for sensitive information. So I don't understand why they fired him because of that. It just feels like they're hiding something. Also, something that this guy brought up was that he's already a high-paying employee. So it's not as if this is a job that he cannot find a replacement for. This person says this: we are really getting to a place where capitalism has rotted our brains and ethic values, and moral compass barely exists anymore. It's not just a job or just money, it's bigger than that. Exactly. Will you give up your values just because of you want a big check? If everybody looks the other way, we are not gonna live in a world where we are happy to exist in, you know. Alright, I'm gonna show you the response of the other guy. They just kept going back and forth.
What a rookie move. Asking questions they don't want him asking.
Just sitting there and doing your job is exactly why we're in the state that we are in this country, right? Because you guys have sacrificed your morals, your integrity, and your principles for a bag. And
No, it isn't. We're in this mess because wages have stagnated. Our government has been bought out by foreign entities and private companies. And the combination of inflation and purposeful price gouging is kicking our ass. That's why we're in this mess. No, the average person did not sacrifice their morals and integrity and what... Bro, people work at Wendy's, man. We got regular jobs. Do you know what your problem is? Your problem is that you think the $500,000 that they're paying you makes you somehow not part of the American peasantry. Well, guess what? You are not a noble. You are still a peasant with a nice tunic on that they let you borrow. This is my first ever content creator beef. What I would like to celebrate this occasion is for you to go to my bio, click on the link, and follow me over there. Or else you'll never see me again when the clock strikes midnight. Please do it now. The moment you do too much, they'll snatch that shit right off you and send you back to the potato fields. That's how it is. You think you're in them offices going noble for noble? No, you're still a peasant. If you lose your job or if you stay unemployed for too long, you're done. Them, they could lose their whole company. They'll just fuck around and make another one. They could get fined $2 billion. They'll just pay it. It's not the same. If you want to lead a revolution, you're supposed to be communicating with us at midnight. You're supposed to grow your hair out and braid codes into your hair so we could get around StubHub's like manipulation tactics. You're not supposed to go argue with the feudal lord. They're gonna make an example out of you. Then the worst part is you could have stayed at that job and finessed and did the least, but still kind of like protected us a little bit. But now that you're gone, they're gonna go get the slimiest grindball. He's not about to ask nothing. And he's coming for our necks. He's about to violate. We're never gonna be able to get a ticket to nothing else. And they're only gonna pay him $350,000. $350,000 to slime us all, and he'll do it. You don't have that common sense.
The only thing I can agree with this guy on is that there might have been a better way for him to handle this whole situation. Maybe he didn't need to confront his company, but I just cannot be convinced to think that what he did was wrong. Having integrity should be the standard. You know, you shouldn't be told you are doing too much just because you decide to have integrity. It should be what everybody aspired to be. You just can't convince me that having integrity is wrong, you know. And also, somebody with his level of expertise, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to find a job to be able to replace what he has lost. So, I don't know. I just don't think he did anything wrong. But that's just my opinion. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments.